Welcome back to another episode of the Bass Reporter. Today we're very proud to present an Xotic bass. Actually, that's the name, Xotic, X-O-T-I-C. These basses are the brainchild of Hiro Muera. I'm sorry, I'm probably not getting the name right. But Hiro is a man who grew up in Japan and then moved to Los Angeles, has a long history in the music industry on the manufacturing side, and from working at companies like Moon in Japan, eventually got involved in sales and manufacturing, and then making his own particular instruments by himself with his own hands. And along the way, he's created quite a following for his basses and guitars. There are a number of things unique about the Xotic approach to boutique bass making. First of all, this is decidedly a J-bass style instrument. They also make P-bass style instruments and a few other variants. But certainly the core of their products are J's and P's. Hiro has a long history with this kind of design because he went through the craze for vintage instruments that hit all over the world, and particularly in Asia in the 90s. When Xotic started in 1996, the ideas to make something really unique and better, but stay within the traditional styles of a J and P, were tantamount. Passive. Hiro learned from the best, from the great luthiers of America as well as those of Japan. There seemed to be a confluence of them surrounding Hiro in the 90s, particularly in the Los Angeles market. And his first instruments were picked up by studio players in Los Angeles and then Nashville, including the great Michael Rhodes being an Xotic bassist. These are clearly boutique instruments, and for that you get quite a bit of hand craftsmanship and quite a lot of options. Some of the instruments are made by Hiro himself in Los Angeles. Others are sourced with Hiro's partners in Japan and then finished in Los Angeles. No matter where they come from, you're getting a very high quality boutique instrument. In fact, Xotic doesn't really think there's any difference in quality or performance from the ones built entirely in California and the ones that are actually partially built in Japan. All of the instruments that Xotic makes run from the 2000s to the 3000s to the 4000s. There are no budget models, but all of them are excellent values considering the amount of hand craftsmanship that has to go into each model. Xotic basses are clearly designed for the professional musician. However, collectors and enthusiasts will be quite pleased to own one. Certainly out of the box, for even the casual player, you're getting a very luxurious instrument. At the end of the neck, we're still talking about an 1/8 inch of action, so it practically plays itself. We've had this instrument here in a variety of situations for quite a long time, and it hasn't budged. It's still an 1/8 of an inch. The neck is still completely straight and true. So you definitely are getting what you pay for. Neck pickup. Bridge pickup. There are a number of things that make this Xotic bass exotic. First of all, the Xotic pickups. These are, if you can see, actually hardwood covers. They're not plastic, they're not metal. They're hardwood, carved hardwood covers for their pickups. They use either Lindy Fralins or the Xotic in-house pickup design. And I have to say, before I forget, one of the most important things is, even though they're single coil Alnicos, you can actually run either pickup and get no hum. You can run the front pickup, no hum. Back pickup, no hum. This is some magic trick that they've figured out through a series of windings and circuits. They've actually figured out a way to get a single coil pickup with no hum. Truly amazing. I wish every manufacturer could figure out how to do that one. They use a badass bridge typically and Gota hardware. They actually sand down the backs of the bridge to make for a very tight fit to the body. And of course, besides the wood pickups, what's unique about these instruments is, 3 passive controls, active, passive, pull, and 3 active controls. It's a 3-band EQ plus different selector switches to give you a wide range of mid-range EQ settings. So run it passive, run it active, use combinations, you'll get quite a wide variety of sounds. There's also volume settings you could reach with a small set screw in back, body through stringing, very solid 4-bolt neck, beautiful candy colored finishes, and a few other things. The body is actually a little bigger than a standard J bass. The neck actually a little heavier. He uses iron for truss rods in an interesting tapered, there's two of them that taper together as they go through the neck to create more rigidity, to make a bigger, stronger sound. And that's quite evident when you play it. And in fact, the playability of this instrument is really wonderful. Not only the low action, but the flatness of the neck and the satin finish. It just makes for a very nice instrument to play. Certainly a slap monster. I'm not a slap monster type player, but you can tell right away, slap players will love it. Low action, plenty of clearance for your thumb, nice supple strings and a real rigid body, just really perfect for slap playing and for modern styles. But of course, you can go vintage and play just your standard J bass kind of tones. In that regard, the Xotic has achieved something that few other manufacturers have ever even attempted. Vintage, modern, passive, active, 5-string, low action slap, plenty of room for fingerstyle, boutique quality build. When you put it all together, you'd have to say Xotic is going to be a name that more and more people will be aware of. For my money, I think it's one of the best basses out there. If you're a J or P enthusiast, Xotic has to be on your short list of instruments to try, and soon. For the Bass Reporter, thanks so much for tuning in.